This is not new in the context of science and religion. We, for example, now know, scientifically speaking, that the universe started in a big bang. We don't know what happened before that, and that is a kind of theory that appeared in Genesis and has been the foundation for the Judeo-Christian religion in particular. And so I don't see necessarily a conflict between religious beliefs and science, as long as everyone agrees that we should attend to the evidence. That should guide us. Let's figure out what these things are. And my guess is that in situations where there is a lot of uncertainty, for example, if the US government cannot figure out what these objects are, then of course people have their own speculations or theories, or they connect it to some past traditional thoughts. And I have no issue with that as long as everyone agrees that we should get more data and figure these things out. And at the end of the day, we might recognize this as something completely unexpected, but we might also figure it out.
So let me put it this way. I hear you, right? And I go back to the idea, let's say he saw or heard something, and it's his interpretation of it that it has a religious context and it's demons. But I think at the very least, if we make this assumption in this theory, he may have saw or heard something that would suggest that whatever these beings or these phenomena are evil, right? That seems to be the very big narrative put out by pop culture. They're evil, the evil. Is it assumed too much that UAPs, UFOs, aliens are evil if we're putting them in the demon context?
Yeah, I do think that's going too far because, I'm leading the Galileo Project. We built 3 observatories. We're looking up and at millions of objects using machine learning, artificial intelligence algorithms to figure out if there are any outliers relative to the performance envelope of human-made technologies. And my thinking about it is not in the context of demons, but more in the context of aliens. And in that case, if we are seeing any extraterrestrial technologies, it's the way I think of them is the better angels of our nature. Why not be optimistic? Because we can learn from new technologies. We only had science and technology for 100 years, and most stars formed billions of years before the sun. I should also mention that the latest interstellar visitor we had, 3I Atlas, could have potentially released some probes or objects during its path. And in fact, in recent months, there was a report by the Meteor Society that indeed there is a surge in the number of meteors on Earth over the past few months in the first quarter of 2026. We should always, look
and up. And you think that might be caused by three-eyed Atlas?
It's a possibility that I discussed in an essay on medium.com. I calculated that an ejection speed of only less than a few kilometers per second, which is completely reasonable of objects, even if it was a natural iceberg that fragmented, let's say a year ago or a decade ago, there was a cloud of debris around it, then some of those fragments could have hit the Earth in recent months. That's completely reasonable in terms of the numbers. The question of whether it's technological and release some probes, that's a completely separate question, because there you can have the fragments guided by technology. All I'm saying is we should be open-minded to the possibility that we're not at the top of the food chain within the Milky Way galaxy, that we can learn something from siblings of our family of intelligent civilizations. And of course, you may ask, how is religion supposed to be affected by any finding? Yeah. So I had a visit to Harvard University, where I'm a professor, by a group of theologians led by the president of the Templeton Foundation. And they asked me, how would our religious beliefs be affected by finding extraterrestrials? And I said, look, I have 2 daughters, and when the second one was born, it didn't take away any of the love that I have to the first one. And so assuming that God is a parent that can attend to only one child is very limiting.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a really good way to try to think about that. It makes sense, because if we really do get more information, that may be ways people kind of process it and accept it. Avi Loeb, thank you for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.